A Tune on the Bagpipe by Antoine de born 1398, died 1470. During the war between the Burgundians and the Armagnacs, there occurred at Troyes in Champagne a delightful adventure that is well worth relating. The people of Troyes had first been on the side of Burgundy, and had then turned Armagnacs, and among them was a half-witted fellow who kept with us. He had not quite lost his reason, but he inclined more to the side of madness than of sanity. Yet at the same time he carried out by hand and mouth several tasks that wiser men than he would not have known how to manage. This fellow was doing garrison work with the Burgundians at Saint-Demernoul, and whilst talking one day with his companions, he said that if they would trust him and help him, he would give them a good plan for capturing the great host of the rascals of Troyes. For he hated these townfolk mortally, and they did not exactly love him, but always threatened to hang him if he fell into their hands. "I will go to Troyes," he said, "and approach the outskirts of the city, and pretend to spy on the town, and measure the moat with my lance. I shall be taken prisoner, and I am sure that the good bailiff will condemn me to be hanged, and none of the townsmen will object to it, for they hate me, all of them. So I shall be quickly led to the gibbet, and you will lie in ambush in the copse close by. And as soon as you hear me coming out of the gate into the field with my large following, you must spring out on the townspeople and make them prisoners and deliver me from their hands." All of the troops of the garrison agreed to help him if he were daring enough to undertake the adventure. So the game, gallant, half-witted fellow went to Troyes, and, as he wished, was taken prisoner, and the news of his capture quickly spread through the town, and there was not a man who did not wish to hang him. The bailiff, as soon as he saw him, swore by all his saints he would hang him by the neck. "Alas, my lord," said the adventurer, "I pray you have mercy on me. I have done you no wrong." "You lie, scoundrel," said the bailiff. "You have guided the Burgundians in their marches. You have harmed the good burghers and merchants of this town, but you shall have your reward, and be hanged at the gibbet." "For God's sake," said our good fellow, "since I must die, let it be early in the morning, and outside the town, for I cannot bear to receive too public a punishment in this town, for where I once had so many friends and acquaintances." "Very well," said the bailiff, "we will think about it." At dawn the very next day, the executioner and his cart arrived at the prison, and had scarcely arrived than the bailiff came on horseback with his officers and a large number of people to accompany him. Our man was taken and trussed and bound on the cart. Holding his bagpipe, on which he played continually, he was carried to the place of execution. Though it was so early, a larger crowd gathered to see him die than was usual at these scenes, so much was he hated in the town. Now you must know that the Burgundian troops had not forgotten to lie in ambush in the wood close by to the place of execution. They had come there at midnight, partly to save their man, though he was not the wisest of creatures, and partly to get prisoners and any spoil within reach. They disposed themselves ready for action, and sent a man up a tree to watch and tell them when the townsmen of Troyes were at the field of execution. The watchman was placed so that he could do good duty, and the people of Troyes came to the gibbet, and the bailiff ordered that our poor fool should be dispatched. He wondered where his companions were, and why they did not attack the scoundrelly Armagnacs. Ill at ease, he looked backwards and forwards, and chiefly at the wood, but he heard and saw nothing. He lengthened out his confession as much as he could, but he was taken from the priest and pushed on the scaffold. There, God knows, he was pretty well dazed, and he continued to stare at the wood, but all his trouble went for nothing, for the watchman, who had been ordered to start the rescue party, had fallen asleep on the tree. So our poor fellow did not know what to do, and thought his last day had come. The executioner made his preparations to fix the rope around his neck to finish him. When our friend saw this, he thought of a trick that might turn his advantage. "My lord," he said to the bailiff, "for God's sake, let me play one tune on my bagpipe before your men lay hands on me. I ask nothing more, and I shall be content to die and forgive you and everybody for killing me." His request was granted, and his bagpipe lifted up to him, and holding it as easily as he could, he began to blow, and played a song that his companions in ambush knew very well. It was, "You stay too long, Robin, you stay too long." And at the swell of the bagpipe, the watchman awoke, and in his fear he let himself fall from the top to the bottom of the tree, and cried, "They are hanging our man! On, on, quick as you can!" The troops were all ready, and at the sound of the trumpet they sallied from the wood and fell upon the bailiff and all the folk around the gibbet. And in the tumult the executioner lost his wits, and instead of hanging his man, told him to save his life. This our friend would willingly have done, but it was not in his power. He did something better. Standing on the scaffold, he cried to his companions, "Take that man! Capture this man! This one is wealthy. That one is worth nothing." In short, the Burgundians killed a great heap of men in Troy, and took a large number captive, and saved their own man, who never, all the days of his life, was in such a state of terror as in that hour. Weird stories.